stage now where I'm getting called ma'am.
You should look at them and be like, I prefer madame.
Yeah.
All right. You about ready? You wanna?
I'm ready.
Okay.
How do I start out? Well,
I'm gonna say we're gonna go. What's your name?
Brandy Richie.
How old are you?
43. Be 44 the 10th this month. I guess I'll start about a little bit about my life. I grew up in a little town called Akron, North Carolina. The only thing I had in it was a convenience store. I was pretty normal, you know. We was so poor. We didn't have no bathroom, no toilet. You know, we had to go to the bathroom in a bucket on the outside. But you know, that's what you know. It's life, you know, growing up poor. But you know, well, my mom gave birth to me when she was 14. Went back to live with my grandmother after I got home from the hospital. She raised me and everything. Let me see. I guess the guy that molested me, is it okay if I say his name?
Yeah, you're welcome to say whatever. If there's anything that you're uncomfortable with, that you don't want to say, or if you decide later, like, yeah, wait, like, yeah, it's up to you.
I grew up with a family of 3. It's me and my 2 brothers. I was the oldest of the bunch. You know, my mom raised them. She was in and out of my life, you know, periodically. And, you know, had a different man every time I would see her. But she's crazy. But, you know, I was about 11 years old. My grandpa burnt my house down. About 10, 11 years old, started getting molested. The guy made me go do things on him that no normal little girl, you know, normally shouldn't be doing on a man. Kept it until I was 17 years old. Didn't tell nobody. Wayne got me to tell. Went home one night, lay down in the bed, started thinking about what the man done to me, and I just started bawling. I couldn't take it no more. Well, went in there and told my grandma and grandpa what happened, and told Wayne what happened. I went and tried to prosecute him over it. They said that it had been so long ago, you know, he'd probably deny it. The investigator called me back, said, at that time me and Wayne wasn't married. They said, Mrs. Longman, that's, you know, my maiden name. They said, you'll never guess what happened. He said, we brought him in and questioned him. I said, yeah, what, did he deny? He said, no. He said, yeah, I guess I could have done something like that back then because I was drinking. And they said statute of limitations ran out on it. And he was not prosecuted for it. So we caught him in a grocery store parking lot one day and went up on him in front of everybody. But I think the most hurtful thing about it all of it is after my family found out what he done to me, they let him in their house to have dinner with them. And that's cold. I mean, how can you invite somebody in your house that molested your granddaughter? Then, you know, growing up, you know, when I was 11 years old, I had to go live with my mom. I had to go live with my mom because my grandpa had a heart attack, and, you know, my grandpa had a heart attack. I had to go live with him, and I had to go live with my mom. Drunk party every night, couldn't sleep. She became suicidal, started slicing her wrist in front of us and stuff. Walked in the kitchen one day, she tried to stab herself in the stomach with a butcher knife. You know, it's just, nobody should have to grow up with what I went through growing up. I mean, I got pregnant at 15, had my oldest son at 16. My mom found I kept my pregnancy hid for 6 months. And when I did tell my mom I was pregnant, she told me I was a whore. I ended up having my oldest boy. Met Wayne met like my husband when he was 9 months old. We've been together 27 years, and me and him started having kids together, you know. And when my second to the oldest son, when he was 2 years old, she slit her wrist in front of him. And I'm like, no more. I will not let her, you know, even watch my kids anymore. And it got so bad that I couldn't even, you know, I didn't even want her around them.
What did they do for income? Like, who'd you live with growing up, and what did they do for income and for survival?
My grandpa made moonshine. He made moonshine. And he was actually offered a part to play a western and play a villain in a western, and he turned them down. My grandpa was really creepy looking, but I tell you what, though, he was proud of me. And he always told everybody, I raised that youngin' there, is what he'd always tell me. But him and my grandmother passed away. I lost my mom when she was 40 years old. She died of cervical cancer. And then, after that, my grandfather couldn't take it anymore because him and my mom was close. And when she died, he never was the same. Dementia set in. And last time I seen him, he tried to bite me. He didn't know who I was. And then, he died, and then a year later, my grandmother died. And that was basically, what family I had. And then probably I'm going to say about 2 years after that, my brother, 32 years old, died of a heroin overdose. And, the boy had really major problems. I've tried to help him, couldn't help him. He'd been in and out of prison. I told you he beat a baby with a plastic baseball bat and almost killed it. I went and seen the baby in the hospital. It looked like the Elephant Man, the baby did. It had so much swelling on its brain. It lived, though. And, it's just, I think he should have got more time than what he did. 5 years is not nothing for abusing a baby. And, he was in and out of prison so much. And I met Wayne, and I've been with him for 27 years, and my life's been good since we've been together. We've raised 4 kids together, got our first grandbaby on the way. I feel like choking him out sometimes. But, when you're with somebody that long, it's just, when he's in the hospital, it's not the same. I can't sleep in our bed when he's not in the hospital. I stay on the couch, and he knows a lot about me, about my situation growing up. And he could flat out tell you my family didn't give a shit about me. And I know that, but, that's still your family, What are you going to do? I don't have anything to do with them, but, it's still my family. My daddy owns a company, AC Jerky Company, out in North Carolina, and he's seen my kids twice, and my youngest is 22 years old. And, it ain't that I want anything from him. I just begged him to be a part of my life. So a few years ago, I wrote a letter, and I didn't sign my name to it. I signed just a random name, and I addressed it to his wife. Well, in that letter I wrote to him, I basically went off on him in the letter, because, he wouldn't talk to me. And I told him, that I remember him slapping me in the face whenever I was about 3 years old. He left his handprint on the side of my face. And he was very abusive, my dad was. Threw my mama out of a car, and she got hit by another car. I do believe that is why my mama was the way she was. Because she was 14 when she got with him, and like I said, he broke her jaw one day with it wearing a clash ring. And, I don't have no feeling. I would like to have him in my life, but I don't want to have him in my life.
Were your parents a part of your life a lot when you were younger?
No. My mom, she chose men and alcohol over me. And, my own stepdad, now this is going to get you right here. My own stepdad, I don't even like calling him that because it was disgusting. He raised me from the time I was 11 years old, right, until my mom passed away. He tried to get me to go to bed with him. And, was calling me, harassing me on the phone. And I called and told my mama what was going on. And she's like, she has no time she called me a name. And I'm sitting there telling her what her boyfriend's doing, And because he had me scared, I was afraid he was going to try to come down there and force himself on me. And, he waited, and she thought that I had something going on with him. That's how little she thought of me. But me and her were totally like night and day. She went and told Wayne it'd been going on for 2 years because her and Wayne worked together. Wayne's my husband. And, I went over to her house one day, and there for a long time I wasn't even going around him because I couldn't stand to look at him. And she's like, you can come in now. She said, Dale ain't mad anymore. I looked at her. I said, Mama, I said, anybody should be damn mad. I said, it should be me. And you know what he done? When my mom passed away, he apologized to me and Wayne at her wake for what he done. Now, ain't that some crazy crap?
So, What was your schooling like then, growing up through all that?
I slept because I didn't get no sleep at night. How you gonna sleep when you got big drunk parties going on? And I dropped out of school when I was 16 years old because I was pregnant. And you know, the day my mom found out I was pregnant, she got me down on the floor and wallered me. She was drunk and she bit me on the titty and put a bruise on me. And I went and called my grandpa to come and get me. Because, you know, I didn't want to have a baby raised up in a house like that. And, you know, I had my oldest boy and everything, and I think that she never gave herself time to grow up, is really what I think the problem was. Because think about it, what 14-year-old isn't ready to be a mother? And then she has two more, and the way I take it, my dad used to beat them bad. And one of these days, I'm going to end up being face to face with my dad. And I don't think he's going to like it. Because I'm going to go off on him.
So what'd you end up doing for work for yourself and stuff like that?
I worked at Burger King. I was mainly a stay-at-home mom. Wayne mainly worked because it was cheaper on him. I didn't trust putting my kids in daycare or letting anybody watch them because of what happened to me where I was molested. I was terrified. I guess you would call it that I sheltered my kids because I wouldn't let my kids go anywhere to spend the night. You know, because I was terrified of that happening to them. I didn't want my baby. I can still yet taste his thing in my mouth when I think about it. That's how bad it was. I can remember just like it was yesterday. And, you know, it would kill me if something happened to one of my girls. And I was a stay-at-home mom, but I worked a few jobs. I worked at Hardee's and Burger King, and I worked at a grocery store. You know, it's just, I've got really bad anxiety. And, you know, it's hard for me to deal with a lot of stress because I have a lot of chest pains and stuff from it. But I do believe that's from where I grew up in the situation that I grew up in.
With all of this, I think you already said this, but were you raised here in Kentucky or where's places?
I was raised in North Carolina. Wayne moved out there. He stayed out there for 22 years. And me and him ended up moving back out here. We lived back out here before in Campton, but the place we was living at was very bad. I mean, you know, that we had a blind curve. It was his dad's trailer. Had a blind curve on both sides. We ended up selling that place. We settled his dad's estate, and we ended up, you know, moving to his hometown, which is in Breathitt County. Moved in, paid the rent up for a month, and about 2 weeks after we moved in, here come the landlord telling us, "Oh, y'all got to move because my son's getting out of jail and he's going to stay here." Took our refrigerator and stove out of there and left all of our. We had probably about $200 some of groceries. I begged people come. There was steaks, hamburger meat. I begged people come and get it, but I can't get nobody to come and get it. But the judge sat there and let her away with what she done to us. My rent, it wouldn't even do. I mean, it wouldn't even do yet. I don't see what she done was illegal at all. But she got to talk to the judge before me and Wayne had a chance to. But this experience out here has been a lot better. And I did have a crazy bitch. Well, she's dead now. My daughter made me a Facebook page, and Wayne may not get mad at me, but Wayne hooked up with her when he was 19, right? She was 16. This bitch has stalked Wayne ever since we've been together, and she was married to Wayne's cousin. Wayne would call there, talk to his cousin. She would cuss the cousin in the background to get to talk to Wayne on the phone. Destiny made me a Facebook page. She sent him 5 Facebook friend requests. We went over to how do y'all redneck? I went over to her house one day. I called her out to the car. She'd been telling everybody, "Oh, well, I'm going to move you out of there." Telling everybody, "Oh, I'm going to move her out of there with the kids and everything, and I'm going to be there Wayne." Well, me and Wayne pulled up in the driveway one day, and I called her out to the car, and her name was Phoebe. I call her Sleazy. But I called her out to the car, and I asked her about everything that was being said. She looked at me. She said, "I ain't never so much as kissed Wayne." I said, "Phoebe, I know that's a damn lie because I know you and him has had sex." I said, "I'm going to tell you right now." I said, "If this shit don't stop," I said, "I'll kill some damn body over Wayne." And then she started sending Facebook friend requests, 5 of them. And she finally ended up, I don't know if she killed herself because she couldn't get with Wayne, but she ended up dying OD and she killed herself.
Oh, my.
Sent her kids to the store, and she done it while her kids was gone.
Oh, jeez.
But that girl has some mental problems bad.
A little bit?
But she was obsessed with Wayne.
Wow. Yeah, that's some heavy stuff.
But what was messed up is Wayne should have been the one getting on the phone telling her to stop messaging him, not me.
So, let's go with, do you keep in touch with any other family or anybody like that? Or is it just...
No. No, I don't talk to my brother. I've got, let me see, a niece and 3 nephews. I've seen them one time. They don't even know me. My brother's got the big head. He thinks he's better than me. You know how people are like that. You know, and I just don't want to be around somebody that has that attitude about me, you know. Because the way I see it, there ain't nobody no better than nobody else. That's the way I was raised. And, you know, he came out the same man I did. Well, he came out mama's end just like I did. But the bad thing about it was, he called me, I've never done crack a day in my life, and I've never been a whore. He called me a skinny crackhead whore. If he'd been around me when he said that, I probably would have whooped his ass. Because I've done it before.
Let's change gears a little bit. What's some good memories from when you were younger, some of your younger days? What's some of the cool things you done? Or
Okay, well, I remember one time my grandpa's brother took me to the beach, him and his whole family. I had never been to the beach. And he took me down there, and we stopped by Krispy Kreme Donuts on the way, you know, got some freshly baked donuts. We went to Myrtle Beach is where we went. And he went and bought me shopping, you know, took me shopping, bought me all kinds of clothes for the beach and stuff. And I loved it. I don't like the beach itself because I don't like to feel the salt water on you. It's like the night arcades and stuff like that. That was a good memory that I have. And I've got some good memories of my mom, too. You know, when she wasn't drinking, you know, she is a good person when she wasn't drinking. But my best memories are with my grandma, though. She's sitting there one day. My grandma was very, very, very brutal and honest. And my grandpa cheated on her for years. And she'd tell me all kinds of crap. And we was sitting there one day, and she's like, yeah, Brandy. My grandpa slept on the floor on a big, thick mattress. She said, yeah, your grandpa gets up here and wants to rub all over me. She said, I told him to get back down the damn floor where he belongs. And it's just, the arguments they say to each other. She called him. Well, I don't know if I can say it on there or not.
as long as it's not the C word.
Well, it's not, broke down. That's what she called him. And he called her. That's what I grew up listening to. And then they would throw shoes and stuff at each other.
That's true love right there.
But he got prostate cancer, and my grandma told him that God took it away from him because he was cheating so much. But I never remember him telling my grandma that he loved her. They was together the whole time, you know, for probably 50-some years, but I never remember him telling her he loved her. But she did him. Stayed faithful 100% to him. And I think that's why I took back after my grandmother instead of anybody else in my family. Because she was a lot like me. But I don't think I have her bad temper, though. She had a really bad temper. She was raised in an orphanage. She was raped as when that's how she got pregnant with my Uncle Steve. She was raped. Her mother worked in an orphanage. And her sister was bringing home, sneaking in guys. And one of the guys raped my grandma when she was like, I think she was like 13 or 14 years old, and got my grandma pregnant. My grandma kept my Uncle Steve. I mean, she gave birth to him.
Well, yeah, at that time, I don't think you really had much of an option.
Mm-mm. But I tell you what, though, he would do anything. He ended up getting leukemia and dying. He died right before my grandma did. It was right after my grandma did. But, you know, Wayne's got some... Now, if you sit down with Wayne can tell you all kinds of stuff.
Oh, yeah, no, he's definitely the next one.
I mean, he's ran cars off of bridges, jumped railroad tracks. And he told you everybody was getting shot in the head.
Yes, no, he came in the other day, and I was asking him about it. I'm like, would you be interested in this? He said, well, I've been shot twice, or stabbed twice and shot once, so I might have a good story. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're sitting down with me.
They was, well, I'll let him tell the story, but they was ambushed. The guy that done it got away with it. They had witnesses, but the day of the court, nobody showed up. So, I mean, they about killed Wayne and all of them. There was 3 people in the car. They about killed them.
You know, it sounds like you guys have lived an interesting life. So how old were you when you and Wayne met?
17. And he made me ask my grandparents' permission before he dated me. And I did, and I asked their permission. But, you know, we didn't jump right out into, you know, we took our time with our relationship and everything, you know. It seems like as soon as we, you know, started being intimate, I started popping out kids one after another. And Wayne was supposed to be able to have any kids. He was supposed to be sterile because he had the mumps. I told him, we need to talk to that damn doctor. But, you know, I've had a great life with Wayne. Now, back in, I want to say 2014, I about lost him. 2016. He had to have surgery, and they cut him from all the way from his breastbone. They cut some of his breastbone off, all the way down past his belly button, and he had staples all in him. Well, he started shooting bile through the staples, and they let him lay down at the hospital for 4 days. No IV fluids. And the only thing they was doing was putting old towels on that bile. And you know yourself, hon, that with a place like that, those towels has germs on them, right? Wayne came home within 24 hours, him coming home. His white blood count was through the roof, and he was septic. His kidneys were shutting down. And I had to feed him through his veins for 4 months. Because he was not allowed to eat no food. And I thought I was going to lose him. And then about a year or so ago, I think is when I got the cancer scare diagnosis. I couldn't look at the man without him start crying. I mean, he would cry every time I'd look at him. And it broke my heart to see him cry. Because, hell, I've been with him over half my life.
And so, is there anything that you do around the community or any volunteer work or?
No, but I used to take care of an old man. He lived in Hazard. I wasn't no kin to him or nothing. He was pitiful. He only had one leg. And he was like in his 70s. And we would take him to the doctor, and I would take him home. And he got, you know, narcotics and stuff. It would look like a bunch of vultures taking his medicine. And I started taking his medicine home with me, and I went over there every day and gave him his medicine. And he ended up getting his other leg took off. Well, come to find out, there was a guy that was staying with him, right? He just got out of prison, I guess, for murder. He picked that man up out of that wheelchair and was choking him out. And then I found out about that. I went off. I went down there and confronted him. I said, you know something? I said, you are not put your hands on a man like that in a wheelchair. He's like, well, you know, he's running his mouth. I'm like, I don't care. You can walk away. You don't put your hands on somebody in a wheelchair. Because that's one thing you do not do. You do not disrespect your elders around me. Because I think it's where I was raised by my grandparents. But he wanted to press charges against him. And he went and called the law. And his whole family turned on me after that. Just because, and me trying to help their brother. And I done it for a long time. I went over there and, you know, took him to the doctor and everything. And I think they finally put him in a nursing home because the place he was staying at, they didn't have no running water and didn't have no bathroom. They were using those little, you know, potty stools. They was using those. And, you know, I'd go there and try to clean. But you can't clean with there's no water. You know, it's nearly impossible. And, you know, basically I started going there and buying, you know, my pot. And both brothers, the one that I'd buy my pot off of, he only had one leg. But he could get around though. And, you know, Charles was just, they said that he was so mean in school, they said that his teacher paddled him and he took the paddle away from her and paddled her back. And I think he started developing feelings for me more than just me taking care of him, because he kissed me on the cheek one time. Wade thought it was, I thought it was funny. You know, of course the old man ain't got no chance on me. But, you know, I was doing it because I was trying to help him. And I enjoyed helping him. But he got to where he didn't listen to me. I walked in over there one day and he's in there doing meth. And I'm like, what are you doing, Charles? I'm like, I'm leaving. He's like, no, don't leave. Don't do that. I'm like, well, I'm not going to sit here and watch you do that stuff. Because, he don't need, he's old and he's had a bad heart already. But that's what I've done, you know. And take care. And I've been the community babysitter. I love kids to death. You know that. We lived in a trailer park. They always had like 10, 15 kids out in my yard playing. And I'd give them candy, bake cookies for them. And, you know, they just love coming to my house.
Yeah. Oh, the Ronnie, I was going to ask you before. Tell me about some of the places you lived. Where's everywhere that you've lived?
Oh my gosh. Wayne has moved me. Just Kentucky and North Carolina. But we have probably moved at least 20, 25 times. Wayne cannot stand staying at a place. He says the Richies gets itchy feet, is what he says. And I done told him, I said, look, I'm getting damn sick and damn tired of moving. You want to buy me a damn place because I'm getting so sick of moving. I'm getting tired of putting flowers out. I can't even decorate my yard because I don't know how long he's going to be here. I love him to death, but dadgum, give me a break. I mean, packing, unpacking. Like at one time we moved, I didn't even pack my stuff because I knew we were probably going to move again. So I still had my house still halfway packed up. But he may be coming into some money, and we're thinking about putting some money down on this house. That's what we need to do. And I told him we was talking to a dude for like burial insurance. He came out to the house, and that's the most unprofessional people I've ever seen in my life. The dude's sitting here, and you know I got a bathroom in there, right? He asked me if he could walk out back and take a piss behind my house. He's a life insurance salesman. You know, it's supposed to be, you know, we call it, we're supposed to be like, not respectful, but cleaned up, you know, well-spoken, well-mannered, and stuff like that. And that's the first time I'd ever, you know, heard somebody like that, you know, I'm like, well, I got a bathroom in here. Pee, so we went outside and peed. But they came here the other day. I didn't even answer the damn door.
That's pretty entertaining. Have you guys traveled anywhere else, like for adventuring, for travels?
No, you can't get Wayne to go camping. The only way you can get Wayne to go camping is if you took him in the trailer and just sit the damn trailer there, because he will not camp at all. And that's stuff I like to camp. Now, the first time I ever ended up in Kentucky, I'll tell you the story behind that. Samuel was about 9 months old. Me and Wayne started out to the store to get a bag of diapers, right? We ended up in Kentucky, from North Carolina. And I called and told my grandpa, I said, Papa, I said, I'm in Kentucky. I said, I'm safe. I said, I ain't going to be home tonight. But that's the most spontaneous thing I've ever seen Wayne do. Because we go out to get a bag of diapers and ended up in Kentucky. That's a long damn way to go get a bag of diapers.
If you could travel anywhere, where's somewhere you'd like to go or like to visit?
I don't like the beach. I would like somewhere like Colorado or something like that, like where they have like the lakes and stuff like that, you know, and big mountains and shit. That would be nice. I'd rather go be fishing at a river and go be at the beach. I don't know what it is. I guess it's all there's so many people there too. But it's more relaxing to me to be out in the country. I guess it's because I was raised country.
Have you ever thought about somewhere if you could travel anywhere in the world where you would go?
Let's see, I'm trying to think. Where would I go? I know where I want to go in the world. I want to go to Louisiana. I want to go down there because I don't know if you ever watched the originals or not, but me and Rihanna both talked about that. I want to go down there to see the crypts they got down there. You know, that's some nice stuff. I would love to go there. Me and my daughter have been talking a lot about that because they filmed the originals in Louisiana and on Bourbon Street and stuff. And I don't think I'd want to go during Mardi Gras because there'd be too many people there. But New Orleans, and I'm trying to think of where another place. I don't like Georgia. I've been to Georgia. I hated Georgia. Let me see. I'm trying to think. Alaska's too cold for me. I don't want to go there. Let me see. I'm trying to think of another place. But I wouldn't mind the beach if it was like where the water was crystal clear blue, and you know, now that's not nobody around. That's what my type of beach going.
think everybody wants one of those. I wouldn't mind one of those. My tie in hand and not a soul in sight.
Now last year, it might have been the year before last, they had Guns N' Roses in, I think it was in Lexington. I wanted to go so bad. I even tried to win tickets on the radio trying to go. They come back. If I get the daggone tickets, we might have to go see. Do y'all like Guns N' Roses and stuff? If one of y'all would drive, see, I can't drive in Lexington. I might do it work because I've never been to a rock concert, and that would be my all-time favorite one to go to.
Oh yeah, see now that's a nice dream. Concert's a nice one if you're big to nice big concert.
Oh yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Oh yeah,
it's really neat seeing.
I would love to go see Guns N' Roses in concert. I mean, they just. I love that song that he sings. They used to love her. I love that song. You've heard that song, ain't you? I like that song, but I don't know. They got some pretty music like Civil War, Knocking on Heaven's Door and stuff like that. They done a good remakes of those. And that's just something I would like to do. But, Wayne's a house hermit. He really is.
Just gotta trick him like a puppy. Like a puppy going to the vet.
Well, see,
just gotta tell him you're going to the park and we're gonna go play frisbee and stuff like that. Then you show up there and he's like, "Wait, hold on."
The car and not tell him where I'm going because I'm the driver. He got no control.
Next thing he knows, he's like, "Wait." You're like, "It's too late. We're here. You gotta do it."
I'll tell you what he done to me one time. I wanted to kill him. We was out riding around, and this is another time we ended up in Kentucky, and it was late in the evening. He's like, "You want to go to Kentucky?" I told him no, I want to go home, right? He stoppers to set me out on the side of the road and tells me, "Well, you don't want to go, you can stay here and walk on back home." We ended up getting to Kentucky. He didn't have nowhere to stay yet. We slept in a car on a graveyard that night. And, here I am with a little baby. You could just imagine how uncomfortable that was. And me and Samuel got sick. I gave him so much hell for that. And here I am in the back seat, stretched out, trying to lay down with Samuel. Wayne's like, "Will you mind if I get back here and lay down and you come up?" Because he said I got to drive. So I had to get out of the back and lay him, lay back down in the back.
Oh. You guys really do have a sweet relationship, though, it sounds like.
We can give each other hell. I mean, we'll be in the store and he'll be like, "Can I play with your titties?" And that makes me so mad. And he'll say shit like that to me, and I'm like, "Wayne, shut up." Or he'll be sitting here rubbing my back, and the boys will be sitting there, and he'll go around, and I'm like, "Wayne, stop that." And he's like, "Well," and I'm the type of person, when the boys are here, I do not want no time alone. Wayne likes to go on back here and do it, and I'm like, "No, I can't. It's got to be quiet." But, when they was little, they were damn sure mood busters when they were little.
Oh, don't I know it? It is, though. You guys really do have a sweet relationship. There's not many stories you get to hear about the high school sweethearts that made it work. And just from, knowing you, I can see that you guys really take some care and do each other. You might want to drive each other up the wall, but you do well.
The girl that introduced me and Wayne was supposed to have been a best friend to me, right? Well, she ended up trying to hook Wayne up with her sister-in-law. And that's what, and me and Wayne Wayne got his car back, and we basically cut her out of the picture. Which I started hanging back around with her about 3 or 4 days before I met Wayne, and I think that was God, because I didn't have nothing in common with her. It'd be the first night I'd ever seen her drink. She went outside with only a pair of boxers on, and her babies were no shirt on, in an apartment complex with little kids. Me and Wayne grabs her. I take her out there in the damn shower and turn cold water on her ass. I mean, it embarrassed the hell out of me because I hadn't drunk but one beer. And I didn't want to party with her no more after that because I seen she was crazier than hell. We've known some crazy people.
Oh yeah, and I'm looking forward to hearing his rendition as well.
Oh, his dad's tried to shoot him, tried to run him down in the truck and everything. Wayne's daddy was a bad alcoholic. My mom was a princess compared to his dad. His dad was crazy, really crazy. I mean, Wayne would, if you'd walk across the floor, he'd threaten to shoot up. He'd be in the floor, in the basement asleep. He'd threaten to shoot through the floor for somebody walking across the floor. That's how crazy he was. And when he died, there was guns all over the house. And Wayne said that he was set with a pile of guns around him because he thought that somebody was out to get him. Because he had drunk for years and it messed his mind up.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't. Our kids seen him the day that he died. They seen him in the casket. That's the only time they ever seen him because Wayne was afraid to take our kids over there around him because of that. And you know, it was sad when my kids were growing up. You know, out in North Carolina they had something called Grandparents' Day, right? And my little girl Destiny, she's like, I don't have any grandparents to come and eat with me, and it made me feel so bad. I mean, yeah, I had a daddy, but my daddy's not going to, come and eat breakfast with his granddaughter. He won't even talk to his. I called him one time, telling about me getting molested. He called the daggone law on me and told me not to call him no more. And so I told Wayne, I said, you know, one of these days he's going to want to be in my life, and I'm not. It's going to be too late. I don't want to give him a second chance. I've tried so many times. I don't want to do it no more. I'm not going to give him another chance. I mean, you know, he's the one. They say that when your parent dies, that they got to leave you. They got to at least leave you $1. I told Wayne that they can just shove mine up his ass and up Alvin's ass and bury him with it.
So, from living down here and living, I guess, you know, the mountain life, the not atypical life that most people live.
I like it here. I like it here better than I did North Carolina, because in North Carolina, there's money out there, right? And I don't want to offend anybody from North Carolina, but a lot of them are stuck up. I mean, you know, they think that they're better than everybody else. And out here, I guess is where, you know, they don't have a lot, you know. They're down to earth, and they are a lot nicer people out here. I mean, you know, I fit more in back here. I don't know if it's because I know that Wayne's happy since he's back home or what. He's threatening to move me to Indiana. I'm not moving no damn Indiana. I done told him that shit.
It's cold.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's cold.
I get cold now, but like if I go out and pick my kids up, these teeth starts killing me through here. Dust and crack kills, pull your damn pants up. I want to buy him some suspenders. He came out, he was my second to the biggest baby when he came out. And I told you he's the one with a cone head. And I never will forget Wayne looking at that doctor and asking that doctor what was wrong with him. I laughed. But I was sick. I got so sick when I had him. They had to give me a shot in the hip because I'd lost so much blood. And I tell you what, my daughter Daisy don't understand. After you got the baby out, you know yourself, you have pains. When your uterus goes to contract back together, that hurts.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Men don't understand what women goes through. They really don't. I mean, they don't have the PMS and childbirth and all that. And they get drove nuts. But I do believe I gave Wayne 50% of his gray hair, though.
Oh, yeah, that's what our talent is, obviously, is they don't understand it, so I'm like...
See, I got some, but you can't see it that good yet.
And mine just falls out. I won't have it because they're just going to be gone. But anyway, what's some of your what are some of your accomplishments that you're proud of?
Raising all 4 of my kids and having all 4 of my kids to do something me and their dad neither one done. Graduate high school. Because they all 4 graduated and me and him never did. And, you know, it feels good. My oldest one, you know, he's had some problems, but my 3 youngest ones, they don't do nothing. You know, my youngest daughter, she's engaged to get married. My oldest daughter, she is married, got her first grandbaby on the way. Got Dustin back there. He's never gonna go nowhere, but I tell you what, anybody messed his mommy, he'd be damn sure there to defend me. He really would. And Samuel's got a very bad temper. He snaps really quick.
What do you think the future could be out here? What do you hope for this place, I guess?
I just wish that, you know, the world just didn't have so much evil in it. I mean, you know, you got people killing their kids. You know, you got kids killing their parents. There's just so much hatred in this world anymore. And it's just, things need to change.
How do you think we can do that?
Start being better people, and use your heart more. Stop worrying about material things. You know, start helping your fellow man, doing better things to help other people. I mean, I think that's what you should do. You know, I mean, if you're rich and you see somebody that needs help them. You know, don't think that you're better than them just because you got money. You know.
Oh, I got a good one. Why do you think this area seems to have that mentality more so than most? Because I have noticed that around here.
I think it's from where people worked hard and they know what it's like to have nothing. I mean, there's some people back here, they just get their little monthly check. They don't leave without their haulers until they get their monthly check. And that's the only time they go out. But, it's just, I think it's just a way of life to them out here now. It's they grew up on farms. A lot of the older generations grew up on farms and stuff, and had big families, so they knew what it's like to work. The younger generation, it was kind of going to the wrong way, and it's just a shame that meth gets a hold of them, and they get on just all kinds of bad stuff. And you take it. I know a 13-year-old girl. I know her since she's 13. She is a beautiful little girl. She got on meth and heroin, and now she's in prison. And she looks terrible now. I wouldn't even recognize her if I seen her on the streets.
What do you think brought that change? What do you think was the catalyst that all of a sudden life went from being the traditional mountain life to what it is now? What is this, so many people on drugs and confusion and people desperately trying.
There's not anything for them back here to do. I mean, there's very little jobs. What is there out here to do for the young generation? I mean, they don't have no, like in North Carolina, they got all kinds of stuff for the young generation. They don't have nothing out here. And what they did have, they closed down. Or the drug addicts went in and started hanging around there and destroyed it for the kids, It's just, they don't have nothing to do. And a lot of them does turn to drugs. And, best thing to do is try to, just try to teach them. That's the only thing you can do.
Where do you think it'd be a way to help this area kind of progress in a better way and start becoming, what it was, be able to hold its traditions, but still be able to move forward with the world?
Well, first what they need to do, they need to go in and just clean house, get all the corrupt politicians. That's what they need to do first. Because they do not want nothing for the state of Kentucky. I mean, his hometown has not changed. In how many years? And, they've offered to put, businesses in there. But they don't want things like that. Because they want to keep it small. That way they can, cover everything. And, up here, what we got up here? Walmart, a few daggone restaurants. And there ain't nothing for the kids to do. So what's the kids going to do? They don't ride bicycles anymore. They're going to get on, they're going to find stuff to get into. And usually it's with their buddies, and 9 times out of 10 they get with the wrong crowd. Now, my youngest boy back there, he's got some really good friends. It's kind of like he is. They Nintendo geeks, video game geeks, but they really good kids though.
You see your life. Thank you.
Cameo by Sir Wayne. your starlit cameo.
That's my worst half.
And you two are too cute. So, what are your hopes then for the future of this place? What are your hopes to see
I would
going
like
on?
to see growth. You know, like, just, you know, put in more businesses, more factories, you know, just don't. And if you noticed that a lot of houses here, they won't rent them out. They just let the weeds take them over.
Just let them die.
And the law came here the other day, and the funny thing, they said that Lexington don't even have a homeless shelter. So what in the world is the homeless people around here supposed to do? Why can't they take these houses instead of letting them fall down like that? Make them like for homeless people to live in. Fix them up, you know. Do something for them.
Get off dope, pay rent.
Somebody's got to put his 2 cents in. I'll tell you what's crazy. Like some of the houses back there where he's from, you'll pull up to their house. They'll be sitting there living in shacks that's about ready to fall down, right? And have a daggone brand new car in their driveway. And you're like, wouldn't you rather have the nice house and, you know, a kind of okay car? That's what I'd rather have.
So I think we got a pretty good idea of what it was growing up, what you went through and stuff. You've definitely had an interesting life, gone through some hard stuff, and got definitely blessed finding a good man who was there by your side and you by his, and powered through some life.
Yeah. Poor brats.
No, I appreciate it. I really appreciate you sharing your story and talking with us, and then letting us know what's been going on. Got any last stuff you want to add, or?
No, that's about it. Just, you know, people just need to start doing better. You know, start thinking about themselves and start worrying about other people. You know, I think the world will be a better place if everybody would just get along. That ain't never gonna happen, probably, though.
She's gonna start singing "We Are the World."
Yeah, there we go. we watched the thing about my